After a long, grueling start away from home in their inaugural season, Richie Williams and Loudoun United FC will finally be able to play at a home that they called for the moment at Audi Field here in Washington, D.C. as they play host to Bethlehem Steel and Brendan Burke in Friday Night Lights edition of the USL Championship 2019 season. The evening ready, Tyler Terrans, along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Tonight's match presented by the National Conference Center. And Devin, when you look at Loudoun United, obviously it's been a very difficult start to this season. However, all of their initial games have been played on the road. They only have 5 points, but they've been in almost every single game that they've played thus far. With exception to the match of Ottawa Fury, where Richie Williams will tell you it's really the only one that we got played off the park. Every other match, you are spot on. They have been right there, and they've given up a lot of late goals. To be honest, silly mistakes that have been self-inflicting, and they need to find a way to tidy that up. But I'll tell you what, Richie Williams says 2 guys that have done really well are their midfielders, one of which is Jack Jean-Baptiste. He does such a good job controlling the tempo of the run of play. His counterpart, Noah Pilato, the 2 of them work very well together, and he's actually quite surprised at how quickly the Honduran has come along. He's repped at the U20 and 21 level for the national team, and if he can continue to make strides in the manner in which he is, you better believe DC United will come calling soon. He's on loan from the Honduran Giants and FC Motagua, who are always participants in CONCACAF League and sometimes CONCACAF Champions League. Meanwhile, for Brendan Burke and the Bethlehem Steel, Devin, they got off to a great start. However, their last 2 games, they have not looked sharp, but they've always been sharp when they get chances in front of goal. Only 1 goal as well. And they've only been held scoreless twice this year, so not the best performance on the offensive side of things. To be fair, they just look rattled, and you see the conversion rate, second in Eastern Conference. They were in the top 5 in the league prior to the previous 2 matches. So can they find a way to get back to their old ways? I'm not worried about them whatsoever. 2 guys that are continuously having an impact. Maybe not necessarily getting the accolades, though, are Beno Famo, the youngster on the back line, as well as James Chambers. And James Chambers, father time, just continuing to get things done. All of them always having an impact. This is a good representation of what they're capable of. Playing out of the back, nice triangular movements. That one actually ended up moving down the field for a goal against the Battery. This one, it's a bit more rocky, but just notice the positioning by Ofemo. He's patient on the back line. The ball gets away from Chambers, but it's a good touch. Then you play out of trouble, you go the other direction. And oh, by the way, it doesn't hurt that the 2 of each other can find in the final third the nice little 1-2 combination. Good ball in, James Chambers from the corner. Beno Famo, nice finish. This got the comeback going versus Swope Park Rangers and that 4-3 victory. Both teams coming off losses in their last games. Bethlehem Steel have lost their last 2. Meanwhile, Loudoun United on the other side, their first game in the DC area in their inaugural season. It's Loudoun United and Bethlehem when we come back. Welcome back to Audi Field, almost set for kickoff as Loudoun United and Bethlehem Steel separated by just about 2.5 hours on I-95. almost ready to go. Tyler Terrens along with the ex-German pro Devin Curran will take a look at the starting 11s for both Richie Williams and Brendan Burke. And starting with the home side. First time that we can say that all season. Devin, what are we looking at?
Former Orlando City man Earl Edwards Jr. gets the nod in between the pipes. And we talked about the boys in the middle. How about the outside mids? Andrew Loudoun and former Darren Powell compatriot Connor Presley getting the start on the right side. Kyle Murphy trying to find his way back into not only the starting 11, but back into this league alongside Orlando Sinclair. Done very well for himself. Only given up 7 goals, but they've only found the back of the net 4 times. You look at their counterparts, Bethlehem Steel. Can they get back to their winning ways on the offensive side of things? 6 changes for Brendan Burke and his boys after having a few weeks off. Same back 4, but the interchange between Zandy and Willis, 38-39, really could be the key to victory to push the ball to the boys up top.
And it's going to be Tomas Romero getting the start in between the sticks as we are officially underway from Audi Field, and for the first time this season and in their history, Loudoun United can call themselves the home sides. Loudoun in their all reds, Bethlehem Steel in their navy blues. 90 minutes ahead. I invite you to turn off the world and turn on the game as Ferris immediately trying to turn one on for Michi Galina. And coming off of his line is Earl Edwards Jr., and he'll be able to collect. And as Devin mentioned, former OCB man from 2015 to 2018. Native of San Diego, California. Very good shot stopper. And Devin, for this Loudoun United side, what are you looking for in particular in order to get off on the right foot in their first home game of the season?
Interestingly enough, they're actually one of the older 2 teams, if you will. Loudoun United, of course, affiliation with DC United. So very experienced from a playing standpoint, but it isn't necessarily translating into a lot of goals, and that's been their issue. You'll watch good goalkeeping, good composure on the defensive side of things, excellent structure, and they don't mind playing with it whatsoever. But once they move over half field, their efficiency on the ball becomes a lot less, and they really struggle in their 1v1 battles and really challenging down into the channels. So can they find a way to try and push this young, experienced but young backline of Bethlehem Steel? That's been the main key. And you take a look at their results, really, obviously 2 weeks ago, did such a good job on the road. That was probably the biggest result of the season so far. That was a head turner when they went on the road and took down Red Bull 2 3-1.
And in the opening moments, Loudoun United proving to be very physical with Bethlehem.
And you turn on the corner and you go on the road once again. Birmingham Legion played a fantastic match, start to finish, 4 minutes of extra time. They get scored on in the 93rd minute. And just, they let their guard down for that small little spot. That's what it's been. We said self-inflicting wounds in the open. Richie Williams said that, you know, we are ones making mistakes. Teams aren't necessarily beating us.
So Loudoun United have made the mistake of offering a chance for James Chambers to be able to deliver one here from the set piece. Matt Real might have a look at it as well. Touch it along for Chambers, back for Real, it's a good idea. Whips one in, asking a lot of questions of the home side's back line, but they're able to deal with it appropriately. And perhaps the counter on the other end. And good defensive work on the near side from Nathan Harriel, 17-year-old from Florida. Harry Hawkins out of the back, keeping the train moving from Loudoun United. Coming all the way back is Orlando Sinclair. Early delivery in. It's not a bad attempt, but Tomas Romero can just see it over the bar. And Kyle Murphy certainly appreciating the delivery, the captain, hailing from Red Hook, New York.
Quality movement from Loudoun coming out of the back, and we said, could they find a way to exploit the channels? That's a pretty good look at it. Nice ball in. Unfortunately, Kyle Murphy just knocks it over.
And let's take a look at tonight's injury report brought to you by Ortho Virginia. Loudoun United, clean bill of health. Meanwhile, on the other side, Samir Miscic as well as Issa Rayan unavailable for Brendan Burke. That's the start for Nathan Harriel along the back line for Bethlehem. It's usually Issa Rayan joining Matt Real at the outside back position.
Issa Rayan, fun to watch so far in the 2019 campaign. Unfortunately picked up a knock just before halftime in the Charlotte Independence match.
Great little back heel from Sinclair. Here's Connor Presley. Good defensive work, though, from Bethlehem. And it comes courtesy of the 19-year-old from Portmore, Jamaica, and Jamoy Topi. Shivani Willis trying to get there. He's coming off of his first goal for the Bethlehem Steel in that 2-1 loss against the Charlotte Independence. That was right before they got drubbed by Indy 11 3-0. And Devin, we talked about this off air. The last 2 games for Bethlehem, stark difference from what we saw basically in every game leading up to those 2.
There were no names or numbers on the shirts. You would not have known that that was a Bethlehem Steel squad. Just the composition that we've seen under Brendan Burke over the past few seasons, getting better every game, gaining momentum throughout the season. And they actually started this year quite hot. And it was very unfortunate, just uninspired on the road at the Independence, and then at home, Indy 11 just picked them apart. Made a mockery of what had been put on the field.
Derek Jones trying to slide one through, and look how far Earl Edwards Jr. had to come out in order to play that one. Good pace to this one in the opening 5.5 minutes. Certainly got to be a lot of adrenaline for this Loudoun United side that's had their first 6 games on the road, only accumulating 5 points, currently sitting in 14th in the Eastern Conference. However, it still only is May 3rd. As Farris trying to put the moves on. Claims that he was fouled, but garners no interest from the referee.
Great defending by Akeem Ward. Well done working back. She made the bench 5 times this year for DC United. Another one looking to break into Ben Olsen's squad. Connor Presley helping him out as well. And there's that defensive movement I talked about. They do such a good job working in conjunction with each other. And it's interesting, the structure that they play. Talking to Richie Williams, they said, you know, with all due respect, Coach, the best match I think you played is probably the Tampa Bay Rowdies game. And you were actually more of a 3-back system. He said, yeah, it's what we'd like to play. Unfortunately, with injuries, lack of depth, and guys coming in and out with DC United, we don't have the depth to be able to do it.
Romero off of his line, and he's able to make the play and halt the Loudoun United counterattack, at least for the moment. Home side will go again. Nice little through ball. Clip towards the back post. It gets all the way through. Romero was claiming that it went out of play. Akeem Ward now on the first time, not his best delivery. And finally, Bethlehem able to clear their lines. Frantic sequence of events.
This is exactly how Loudoun United looked in the opening 20 minutes. Just a few games ago on the road. It's John Wolinak's boys in Red Bull 2. Actually gave up an early goal, but also got 2 for themselves, leading 2-1 at half. Finished them off 3-1. It's that nice pressure. You see, they're just working off the ball so well together. There's so much space to be able to exploit here, and they're communicating quite well.
And that was by far the most shocking result of the USL Championship, week number 7. They would follow it up with a 1-0 loss at Birmingham, a game that, and Devin, you and I talked to a number of coaches. They felt like Loudoun deserved a lot more out of that game, including Brendan Burke.
Just goes back to those games. Sometimes magic's not there. Plenty of opportunities, couldn't finish him off. Came back to haunt him, and goes back to some of that parity in this league you and I talk about, where things are a bit different, a bit closer here and there, and not as much free reign as there used to be years ago. The talent gap is starting to close.
It's starting to close, and it's also the beginning of season, which is the biggest point that I like to make, because especially when you have this many expansion sides coming into the league, I mean, and so many new names, you know, it's not just the USL household names that are sort of rotating. You're getting a lot of new guys in internationals and still trying to figure out who they are. And coaches, just like us, when we're doing our prep work, they're gathering their database as well, and it takes time. Loudoun United very much on the front foot. Driving again. Long-range effort coming in from Loudoun. Never gets past the Bethlehem Steel back line. Chambers gets it away, but only as far as Akeem Ward. Good pressure from Michi Galina, and somehow Ward able to spin out of it. 23-year-old from Vienna, Virginia. And he gets fouled by Galena, which was more frustration than anything. Michi Galena getting a start in the Indy 11 game and called for the foul here.
Should be a fun battle between these two boys. Massive amount of athleticism between the two. Galena just applying a bit of pressure, thanking him for his efforts.
Ball pops out, long range effort, and Romero can see it go wide as Noah Pilato skews that first time effort.
It's a good look at James Chambers as well, asking the boys up top to work a bit more. He didn't like the space that was available, wanted his forwards to tuck back just a bit. This is that system that Ernst Tanner has brought over from Germany, where it is a 4-4-2. However, you'll see Zandy, Shivani Willis tucking in a bit more to allow the outside backs some more space up top, and a lot of interchanging play with Ferris and Galena, but they also have to work back more defensively. Much more of a structured movement from all 11 going forward. Obviously the goalkeeper sitting, but everybody else has to stay constant contact with each other. Brendan Burke says it best: when we get it right, we are men amongst boys. When we get it wrong, we are heavily exposed. That was a good look at it.
Bethlehem able to cover their mistake, and it really was Shivani Willis's mistake, and they get bailed out by our head referee, Mark Allerton. We would like to remind you that the National Conference Center, home of Loudoun United FC, is a corporate training facility in Leesburg, Virginia. It hosts over 14,000 individuals per month and comprises 265,000 square feet of meeting space. The National contains 250 conference rooms, an athletic facility, commissary, and 917 guest rooms.
Pay a visit, huh?
None of which you are welcome in.
Okay. I gotta ask.
I don't make the rules.
No, it's not the first time the Velvet Robe has given me the slip. Let's see you the other direction, buddy.
Here comes the press from Bethlehem. Loudoun United dealt with it properly up until then, and they'll get a throw-in.
That's one as a goalkeeper with Earl Edwards, where you have to applaud his footwork and having the composure to just stand over it and cut it back. But at the same point in time, when you look up, can't leave your outside back. People do a hung out to dry like that. Sometimes it's okay to just knock it down the field, hit the reset button.
Shivani Willis off the Loudoun United turnover. Backheel doesn't quite come off for him. And now Loudoun United can go the other way. Presley getting forward, but forced to play negative. Good footwork from Pilato in the middle of the park.
Actually quite interested to see the role that Shivani Willis plays in this game. He's the guy who primarily plays that holding midfielder role next to James Chambers. Derek Jones not necessarily getting as many reps as he'd like from the Philadelphia Union. So he comes down to Brendan Burke and his boys. And with him sitting alongside Chambers, Willis actually came on as a substitute in the Indy 11 game, and they played him a bit higher. Now he gets the opportunity to sit alongside Zandy and have some fun.
It's a great idea. Coming in from Douay, but it comes to nothing in the end. And Shivani Willis is a product of that Portmore United side, Devin, that just continuously pumps talent into the United Soccer League Championship specifically. And I had the opportunity to watch them in the CONCACAF League a number of months ago, and Shivani Willis was a part of that team. Malik Foster from RGV was a part of that team. I mean, an incredible amount of talent.
I like him.
He's nice.
Something special. Yep. You looked at me a couple days ago and said, "You seen RGV?" I'm like, "Have I seen Malik?"
Yeah.
I mean, the kid is just, with all due respect to Jerson Echeverry out there, he's just something special. Sometimes you just have to take a look at guys and go, he's on another level, and he's one of them.
Shivani Willis, very much a physically imposing as well as technical one, force in the middle of the field for Brendan Burke. And a very nice compliment to James Chambers as well as Zach Zandy as this clip ball over the top intended for Connor Presley, but Romero gets to it 18 years old, Tomas Romero. However, this is his 3rd season appearing in the United Soccer League Championship.
Go figure. You talked about Portmore and the talent that they build out. How about YSC? I mean, just year after year, guys continuously coming out, and just goes to show you the foundation these clubs are willing to lay.
Intended for Galena, skips along the slick surface here at Audi Field.
Anytime that you can stay close to home, pick up players that you've put all the hard work and financial efforts into, it's much better than going out to the transfer window and picking people up.
And Romero started the first game of the season. It was a 3-2 loss of 2017. When he at the time became the youngest player to start in what was then called the USL. Who did they lose 3-2 to?
Unfortunately for you, I've done my prep work. The Rochester Rhinos. It's on my board too, buddy. Well done, though.
I thought I had you.
No.
I thought I had you.
Student of the game. You taught me well.
Listen, somebody's got to do it. Poor giveaway from Loudoun United, straight to the feet of Michi Galena. Faris running with him. And a good challenge from Noah Palato. He knows that could have been a disastrous mistake, and Bethlehem's not exactly a team that you want to give any help in the middle of the field. Galena's still down. Loudoun United's going to play on, and now Mark Allerton's going to bring a halt to it. Grabbing onto that left leg.
As you said, terrible giveaway, but good job tracking back.
Is that a foul?
It's not a foul because he catches him on the follow-through. Does get the ball. It's a good tackle. Just bangs knees as he brings his left foot across his body. He catches that inner side that Galena's rubbing right now. It's just a stinger sometimes you catch, reverberates through the bone just a little bit, and you'll lay there, try and get your body an opportunity to get back to where it was just moments ago. You better believe Akira Umeki's out there and with his magic spray. Always love that stuff. Where's it hurt? Everywhere. Everywhere. Just spray it all over.
Bathe in it. It's a good look at Richie Williams. 48-year manager from Middletown, New Jersey, as Galena slow to get to his feet. Boy, Richie Williams has been there and done that, huh? U.S. assistant, Real Salt Lake assistant. He was the interim manager with New York Red Bulls. He won a Gold Cup as a player with the United States in 2002, a U.S. Open Cup in '96 with DC United. Finished his career with the Richmond Kickers. He has been all over the place and now finds himself guiding Loudoun United in their inaugural season. And it appears that Michi Galena is all right, but will have to exit the field of play just for a moment. And Bethlehem will give the ball promptly back to Loudoun United. Folks, remember, Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Presley sent the other way. The challenge from Shivani Willis. Picked up by Akeem Ward. Trying to find Chambers, and it's just a slight overgrown toenail poke from Orlando Sinclair. And it breaks up the Bethlehem build-up out of the back. Akeem Ward on the turn. Good battle on the near side. And it's won by Derek Jones. Now it's Galena fresh back out onto the pitch. Faris, little underlapping run. Faris will take it on the first time. It's not a bad effort, and he knows that that was a great opportunity to snag one on the road.
Harry Hawkins, a little nonchalant in his actions here. Surprised that he doesn't stick a foot out. Loudoun United having trouble playing out of the back again. There's the press from Bethlehem Steel. Well done. And Galena just waits for the run to overlap. Good look here, trying to put this on the far post, but it's very difficult for the forward to let this roll across his body and then bring his momentum across the ball. Still did well to get the shot off.
The pairing of Faris and Michi Galena has been a revelation, I think, for this for this
Beast mode.
Bethlehem Steel side.
Beast mode.
And I don't know if the style that they're playing now would fit if you don't have those two.
It's hard, especially because of, it's not just the pace of the two of them, it's the engines that don't stop.
Willingness to press.
Yeah. And that's also the system in general where you can't just go out and get talented guys. There are plenty of people who can play on the ball, who are capable of pressing, but can you do it for 75, 80% of a match? No, plenty of players can't, and they don't want to, and that's no different at Bethlehem Steel than it is at Red Bull 2. And John Wolenak said, look, you know, when we go through, and Brendan Burke as well, when we go through and we scout these guys, what do you know about our system? What do you think about this? And some guys say, yeah, I have a pretty good idea. And other ones, if you don't know the answer to that or what you're getting yourself into, you better believe you're pushed to the bottom of the list right away.
It's a job interview.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
When speaking of job interviews, Richie Williams said to us that just such an honor to get an opportunity to come back to the city that, you know, really thrush him into the spotlight, at least in America. I mean, you're looking at a guy, you talked about some of his accolades, also won a national championship at University of Virginia.
Who hasn't won a national championship?
Exactly, right. And I said, you know, you've won the Open Cup. You've got MLS Cup championships. You've got a Gold Cup medal with the United States national team. Which one means the most to you? And he said, you know, it's difficult because they all mean a lot, but he did give me a straight answer. And he said the 96 Open Cup championship meant the most because they won it at RFK. They did it in a convincing fashion in front of all of their fans. And they did it against former USL squad.
Former USL squad.
Soon to be back.
Oh, the Rhinos.
There you go. They beat them 3-0.
Yeah.
Of course, the Rochester Rhinos
would have gone to win in
3 years later.
99.
Yep. Kept most of that crew together. And the Rhinos and the Charleston Battery obviously having a nice run. Richmond Kickers throwing their name in there. But it was just really cool to hear the emotion and the enthusiasm that he put into this team. And I said, you know, what was it like for you building this roster with Ben? And he said, you know, to be honest, it was difficult because we didn't have as much time as everybody else. But we have so much talent locally, and we just want to nurture that and continuously give them a path to the pros. We're getting a good look at it right now.
Bethlehem Steel trying to get a good look at goal now with this build-up. Matt Real. Boy, what a mature football he's grown into since joining Bethlehem a few years ago. Here's Shivani Willis, the Jamaican. Great little triangle that Bethlehem has built. Willis, the beneficiary, whips it in, takes a deflection. Michi Galina was arriving late at the back post. That's the beautiful game at its finest. Ofemu. Look how far up the outside backs and just the entire Bethlehem Steel team is pushed up.
There's a great shout from Brendan Burke as well. We asked what role would Shivani Willis play, a bit of out of sorts where he was. Brendan Burke asking him to slide over. Again, usually on the defensive side of things, sitting much more in a 6 or 8 role.
Yeah, that's a foul against Ofemu, who is trying to be a bit too clever, trying to get out of trouble. And Devin will take another look at that great movement from Bethlehem.
Early on in the season, they got a little press on SportsCenter for their movement against the Birmingham Legion. This one might take that, actually.
No.
So pretty. Just because there's 3 of them and
well,
multiple
because
more
it's
passes.
so simple.
Yeah. Well, it really is. And you and I talk about that on a regular basis, how guys just make it difficult on themselves. There are plenty of opportunities where the one touch less or one touch in general will allow them to play. It's not like there's that much pressure on them. It's just decision making. And that goes to show you at this age, they're just continuously pushing the envelope to see how much they can get out of them.
It'll be Presley. Dangerous ball. Still on for Loudoun United. Clipped in. Murphy was there. Might have been offside. Still going forward, and Matt Real stops that opportunity for Richie Williams' side. Michi Galina. Good footwork, and Bethlehem will be able to keep possession here. Presley with great energy on that right wing. Firth knew he made a mistake. Can Bethlehem capitalize on it? Good ball forward. Here's Willis trying to get around Earl Edwards Jr. But it's a great play from the keeper. And Shivani Willis is really upset with himself. And it'll be a handball coming out the other way. Is this the right move from Willis trying to go around Earl Edwards Jr.?
Well, it's quite difficult, isn't it? And the midfielder usually has the ball glued to his foot. Unfortunately, that does continue here on his progression up top. Lovely interchange once again. If he takes that outside of the left foot, you drag that with your left foot, it's easy. He tries to put it on that right that we've seen him have a crack with so many times, and it allows Earl Edwards to just step up and get the tiny touch to oppose the threat. It's well done by the goalkeeper.
And to be completely honest, the touch with the right foot when he was trying to bring it back was just poor. If that was clean, I think it comes off.
Could be. The way that the ball's sitting, could have easily taken it with the outside of the left. Regardless, the decision gets away from him and escapes Bethlehem steal on the opportunity.
And if Bethlehem are to get one at this point, it won't be from their outstanding play. Most of what's gone on for Bethlehem in the attacking third has been self-inflicted wounds from Loudoun United.
Which is what we said at the top. It's the problem that has plagued Richie Williams' side. Time and time again, they're the ones who are just, it's silly mistakes. You've seen it so far playing out of the back. There's another one. Lucky that the press isn't being employed and Steele don't go the other way. But just so many times you see 1-2 passes, and it's that third or fourth to allow them to make that exchange over halfway line, and they can't do it.
And Ofemu able to gather his composure with a little bit of help from Derek Jones. Great little ball over the top. Nathan Harriel now on the first time. It falls for Willis, and Earl Edwards with a terrific kick save. Willis had all day until Edwards completely slammed the door shut on the Jamaican once more.
How about the patience by Shivani Willis right on the doorstep. And this goes to show you, though, maybe not the best decision moments ago, still remains calm. Excellent first touch. Not a bad strike whatsoever, just trying to place it in the back of the net. And Earl Edwards once again answering the calls.
Oh, great work from Farris. Splits the double team, gets fouled a number of times, and finally gets the call from Mark Allerton. He's barking for a card. And it looks like it's going to be Jack Jean-Baptiste who's going to get the card.
Colin Verfurth early on in this game has been out of sorts and exposed. He's actually someone who was involved in the run of play as well. He and Jack stepping over.
So there will be no card on the play. Verfurth just a talking to. And it was bizarre because the referee called over Jack Jean-Baptiste and motioned to him, and he looked at the referee and said, "Me, I wasn't involved in the play." Here's Galena running out of Keem Ward. Not a bad delivery with the left foot, skips all the way through. Chambers, rare miscue trying to find Zach Zandy. Not a bad idea. Galena onside. Michi Galena trying to drag it back. Earl Edwards scrambling. Still Galena. Now here's the first time effort, and it's off the post. Oh, Shivani Willis couldn't buy one if it was on sale at Target. What on earth does this poor kid have to do to get a goal? Good pressure again from Bethlehem. Could they be in again? Searching for that opening goal, Earl Edwards off of his line.
Shivani Willis, oh man. He's gonna have nightmares if he can't find up some closure in this game. Chance after chance. Once again, look at him just remain calm, instep of the foot, put a little spin on it to the back post, does everything right. Unfortunately, Earl Edwards said his prayers before this match, but I love this shot by the manager, Brendan Burke, immediately. Remember, this kid's only 21 years of age. About 5 seconds after he hits the post, says, come on, Shivani, let's go. Let's get right back at it. Great job by Brendan Burke.
Real around the corner, working on Presley. Good little matchup here. Willis again. Zach Zandy finds a nice little pocket of space. He slides one through. Galena onside around Earl Edwards Jr. And finally, Bethlehem have their opening goal. They have been pounding on the door. Earl Edwards has kept it shut up until now, and it's Michi Galena yet again for Bethlehem right at the half-hour mark. 1-0 at Audi Field.
Well done by the Steel to just continue to apply pressure, did not put their heads down. There has been a disconnect between Harry Hawkins and Colin Verfurth on the back line. Akeem Ward with his hands up in disgust. He did not like what was going on behind him. That's all about communication from the back line for Loudoun United. But Brendan Burke's boys just continued to push the high line. Mistake after mistake have haunted Loudoun United, and Bethlehem Steel finally get one.
Boy, that little underlapping run coming in between the center backs has been absolutely devastating, and they have the timing on that down to a T.
It's one of the most difficult things to handle as a defender, especially when a challenger like Galena is coming at full pace, coming from the other direction. So Harry Hawkins has the initial run, and you have to pass him. But Galena's smart because he holds the high line, and just one quick little dash in behind. It's very difficult for Verfurth and then turn over his right shoulder and go with pace. And it's hard to also for Hawkins to continue because then he exposes on the backside. So it's the interchange between the two center backs. You just have to keep that line a bit closer. To be honest, when he starts to make that run, Colin has to understand he takes a step back, actually body him in front of you. You don't allow him in behind. It's actually a goal really similar to what we saw in the Champions League this week with Barcelona and Liverpool.
So Michi Galena gets his second goal of the season. His first was an absolute banger against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Galena is onside, goes for it early, and Michi Galena at the double in a matter of seconds. Bethlehem Steel spoiling the home opener for Loudoun United. And it's Michi Galena who's right in the middle of it.
Richie Williams, the manager, furious, had the entire line stopped. And he steps off. That is really difficult to comprehend, to be fair to the Loudoun United manager. Verfurth actually looked at Akeem Ward and looked a bit upset, thinking maybe the outside back hadn't held things up. But credit to Galena, just continued to play. Didn't hear a whistle. Saw Earl Edwards out in the middle of no man's land. Of course he would be against the run of play. Finish it off, 2 in the span of 2 minutes. Well done.
Boy, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't finish that off, and I'm Ferris. Well, it was no secret that Bethlehem were going to get one in this half. But for them to get two on a pretty bizarre play, the second. Well, this is a Bethlehem side that is coming off of a bye week, coming off of 2 losses in a row. Very much out for blood. Ball in from Jamoy Topi wasn't half bad.
Good ball in from Topi, and Zach Zandy played a similar one just before to Galena. And it's difficult as a defender because they were trying to play not necessarily a trap, but they pushed just a bit at the end. Looks like it wasn't enough though, as Galena just played it well. Referee left him onside. What's the response from the home squad? This is something that we said. The first one they gave up really needed to be better communication-wise, although it was brilliant by Bethlehem Steel. You have had a decent run of play in the first half, though. Try and find a way to get something back before halftime, gain some of that momentum back you had early on in the first half.
Cross takes a deflection. James Chambers comes away with it, and Loudoun United are really exposed whenever Bethlehem win the ball back. And there's just a ton of space to play. What a start Zach Zandy is having in his first professional season as a footballer. A goal and 3 assists now.
And his goal was nice.
His goal was nice.
Legion goal week 1 was very, very nice. And it all goes back to the movement in this system that allows them to explore the depths offensively.
Derek Jones has his pass cut off by Akeem Ward, but follows it up. And look at Derek Jones off and running now. Around 1 defender. Jones still with it, trying to split 2. But 1 too many touches. Only as far as Chambers, though, from Loudoun United. Can Bethlehem find a 3rd before the half? Real whips in a great ball. Earl Edwards with strong fists. But it was offside.
I actually don't mind Derek Jones keeping the ball if you keep an eye on the progression. Both Galina and Ferris had actually progressed past the back line. Derek Jones recognized that, so it was well done by the midfielder, realizing that pretty much had 2 options. Try and continue his run, which it breaks down. Your team is behind you, or pull it back and start over. Almost assuredly didn't have the time to do that. So well done by the number 6, just pushing up through.
Challenge put in by Real on Presley. Challenge from behind. Mark Allerton has now missed a couple of fouls in succession. And what we saw from Loudoun United in the first 10 minutes was crisp passing and just a clear game plan. Since then, it's looked very direct and a bit forced.
We can see they're rattled as well. Every touch is just a bit off. You start to hear footsteps. You start to question your decision making when things like this start to play. Mentally, it really takes a toll on you, especially when the goals come in succession like that. You have to find a way to just settle yourself down. That starts from the manager, working its way down. And then you look to your leaders.
Like Kyle Murphy, who puts on a great move, and Kyle Murphy with a terrific individual effort for the first goal at home for Loudoun United in their inaugural season. The skipper leading from the front and cuts Bethlehem's lead in half.
And sometimes you just need that one guy to step up from a physical standpoint. How about Kyle Murphy? This is a guy coming out of Clemson who was on absolute fire for RGV a few years ago. Things may have faded then, but he is red hot now. 2nd goal on the season, making a mockery of the back line of the Bethlehem Steel. Just like that, the home squad are back in it.
And that's a center back in Ben Ofemo who's garnered a lot of headlines and a lot of accolades recently, and Murphy just went around him like he was a mannequin. Murphy could be in again on the other side, but a good challenge from Ofemo. This is fun.
It's a bit different now. Obviously, they've got a stream to the match down below on the field, and they didn't like how we were talking about them, and that's fine. Anytime you can pick up the tempo, that's good. One thing to keep an eye on, Richie Williams did say when we defend, we want to sit in a 4-4-2. It can be diamond, it can be flat, pending the circumstances. And going forward, he wants more of a 4-2-3-1 look, where Orlando Sinclair will drop back in, give Jack Jean-Baptiste and Noah Pilato a bit of help in the middle. They had gotten away from that. You can see the structure starting to change just a bit. And all you need is that one little touch of confidence to get things going. They think they might have found it.
Zandy trying to find that run for Galina again. The flag stays down. Michi Galina could be in on a first half hat trick. Peels it back looking for Derek Jones. Farris slipped in the middle of the field. And it comes out the other way. Galina, I can assure you on that play, we had a great angle of it. He was offside, but the assistant referee missed it.
There's a good shout from the near touchline as well. Speaking to the 4th official now, Richie speaking to Mark Allerton in the middle of the field. We said the goal was questionable. That one was clear as day.
and it's the same run every time.
But as a defender, you've got to keep your composure. Now you know that that's coming. You cannot stop.
But you can't do anything about it. The referee's just not abiding by the rules.
All the more reason why you continue your run.
You continue your run, but if he's offside and he's getting played in, you're always going to be starting 5 yards behind.
Don't disagree with that. However, the first 2 times,
well, they stopped. Okay,
they didn't move. You want to continue. So you still play the line. If they don't blow it off, they don't blow it off. Then you chase. They hadn't chased before.
That was egregious from the assistant referee, but I'm sure the conversation will be had between all 4 officials.
One of you's got to go between the 2 center backs.
Tell you what, there's a lot of managers in the USL Championship who would not be as cool as Richie Williams is at the moment.
It's a good shout directionally, though. He wants his holding midfielder, someone to drop back. When you do push your outside backs that high, they'd like a bit of support, and it also helps distribution-wise. So Noah Pilato, that time around, we've seen it from Jack Jean-Baptiste, and there's a counterbalance. So one drops, the other steps into the middle, and Orlando Sinclair can help things out as well. Richie Williams is smart. Look, if it's not on, just go to him. That's back to the decision-making. 1 in, 1 out, constant rotation. And it's the little things like that that make this game so much easier and also that much more difficult for the likes of Bethlehem Steel to track. Constant interchange. I gave you an example of Louisville City the other night where they're calling it a 4-1-4-1, but their outside backs play so high, they spread their center backs out and allow the holding midfielder to drop back in. Exactly what you're seeing out of Noah Pilato.
And Ofemu, fooled once, not going to be fooled twice by Kyle Murphy. He's only 18 years old, from West Bloomfield, Michigan.
That's twice. That's questionable.
Well, why isn't that going back to the keeper?
That's got to be a shout from the goalkeeper, but he had plenty of space. Just put a bit of force behind it, hand it to Romero, and start over.
Kyle Murphy really started to grow into this game. A great effort from distance, and it wasn't far off. Came from Orlando Sinclair, and Tomas Romero was interested for just a moment.
The 2 boys we highlighted in the open, Ben Ufemo, James Chambers, having a word with each other. Chambo furious with his center back that he doesn't go back to Romero to allow the team to compose themselves. Loudoun United were the ones that were giving the ball away unnecessarily early on. Things have started to shift the other direction to the boys in blue.
You're getting the full package of what both of these teams sort of catch-22s are. In Bethlehem being so unbelievably talented but so young and can make those mistakes but look like world beaters at the same time. And you're seeing the Loudoun United with the self-inflicting wounds but the talent to be able to go and win games as well.
This is why you get results over the course of the season that we see from Bethlehem Steel, Red Bull 2, and now Loudoun United, where the ceiling is ridiculously high and they make great playoff runs, but they also have these fixtures during the middle of the year. You kind of turn your head and go, really? And it's the part of the growing pains of nurturing their youth and trying to progress them to the next level. And also, both managers, Richie Williams and I had a good laugh about this. I said, you know, I've become quite friendly with Brendan Burke. They've got something crazy like 101 lineups and 103 matches or something. These guys don't know some of their players 24 hours ahead of time of a game. And that's difficult to manage. And yet to still be able to get out of them some of the great performances we've seen, you can understand why on the other side of things, they also some very poor ones.
Orlando Sinclair with good work. Derek Jones with better work to track back and make sure that it wasn't an equalizer for Loudoun United before the half. Although the third-party observers, I'm sure, wouldn't mind 4 goals in 45 minutes.
Are we one of those?
fourth party.
Fourth party.
Yeah.
Didn't realize I was invited to the party. Nice.
Akeem Moore drills one in. Ariel gets to it first. We're hearing just 2 minutes of stoppage time as Loudoun United prepare to take the corner. Mark Allenton not a fan of the pushing and shoving going on between Jack Jean Baptiste. He was their first for Loudoun United on that turnaround effort on the half volley, but comes to nothing. If I'd have said to you that there was going to be 3 goals in the first half between these two sides, what would you have said?
3, maybe not. 2, yes. I'm not surprised on 2. And it just all goes back to their ability to take a game over, both teams, but at the same point in time, make some poor decisions. It's definitely been relevant here in the opening 45.
Loudoun pushes it out wide. Harriel goes to ground. It's the only game on a Friday night in week number 9 of the USL Championship. And boy, has it panned out to be a good one. A goal-scoring bonanza at Audi Field for the home opener for Loudoun United. Still waiting for their stadium to be complete, but the first 45 minutes in the DC area has not been lacking in entertainment. Michi Galina at a brace. In 45 minutes, Kyle Murphy was able to pull one back for Loudoun United and Richie Williams. Mildly entertaining stuff here at Audi Field. Devin Kerr, your thoughts?
Just have to give credit to the managers. Unfortunately, slow start for Bethlehem Steel as Loudoun United came out on the front foot, but you saw Brendan Burke make some tactical adjustments. They came back. They got their 2 goals, one of them controversial. However, good stuff by the home squad and the individual brains by Kyle Murphy. Gives something for the home fans, the Screaming Eagles and District Ultras, something to scream about at halftime, and reset yourselves, get back in the second, get it going.
Lots to talk about for Brendan Burke and Richie Williams. It is 2-1 to the Bethlehem Steel at the half. Goals galore, some questionable offside flags that were not risen. Farris has had some opportunities, so has Willis. Michi Galina has buried his, as has Kyle Murphy. 2-1 at the half. Halftime here at Audi Field, and tonight's halftime segment presented by the National Conference Center. Mitja Galina with 2 goals in a matter of 2 minutes for Bethlehem. It looked woeful for Loudoun United, and then the captain Kyle Murphy and the former RGV man just willed himself around Ben Ofemu and to the opening goal for Loudoun United at their temporary home here at Audi. We're going to step aside for a brief moment and take a look at what's to come for USL's League 2.
Now Morton's coming up, it's headed and in.
Not it back in, Sandoval is there, so is Hamilton, loose in front, it's Freighter! What a hit! New Mexico equalized in the dying moments, it's a hat-trick for Freighter! Unbelievable at the lab!
Juan Pablo Capa with a direct free kick. Chips it. A goal! The equalizer for the captain. Lomas in. Lomas! And North Carolina FC. Lomas with his 6th goal of the season. Back to the goal scorer. Barnby will try again. And another.
That is absolutely world class. That is much harder than it looks to do.
Didi Traore. Oh my goodness, what a run. Didi Traore crosses. Didi Traore! It is a work of magnificence.
Unbelievable stuff from week number 8 in the USL Championship. Week number 9 is not off to a bad start either. We had USL Championship game of the week with Mike Watson, Devin Kerr earlier this week. Louisville City holding on for a 2-1 win against Memphis 901 FC. And how about this game so far? Although we are a little bit disappointed with the Tampa Bay Indy 11 result.
0-0.
Oh.
0-0.
Really?
Trace got it. Hey,
Got that.
tell you, Tampa Bay Rowdies on the road. That's a win. I don't care if it's 0-0.
How about the week for New Mexico United? Not only Kevon Freighter, goal of the week, player of the week, Cody Mizell, save of the week.
But don't forget, they just won Player of the Month in Santee Moar as well. Kevon Freighter, 7 goals this year, already doubled.
More than double.
More than doubled. Math, easy,
Matt again.
easy, you know. Over than doubled his 2018 total, and he only had 3 for Phoenix Rising. Great to see him back and really thriving under Troy Lesane.
Plenty of stadium news. Indy 11, their new soccer-specific stadium. The Triple S is well underway. Loudoun United and Hartford finally opening, but not at their permanent homes. Loudoun still waiting for theirs to open up sometime around August. Hartford Athletic is waiting for their home opener against Charlotte, I believe.
Very good, very good.
Listen, a lot of teams, a lot of stadiums. Not many points for Hartford, but we will stay away from that. We'll take a look at some scores from week number 8, as well as bleeding into week number 9. Los Dos and Las Vegas Lights FC. If you were to have told me that was going to finish 0-0, I would have called you crazy.
5-4, 6-1.
And all goals in the last 15 minutes of the game.
Exactly, yeah. Lou City did a good job, to be fair. They scored all 3 goals. As
Oh, no.
Sorry, Abdu John was trying to clear things on the back line, and Steve Mulqueen and his boys or Tim Mulqueen, excuse me, can't get it going still. 2-1.
RGV.
Yeah, figure that one
That's
out.
a good result, man.
On the road. On the road.
Well, coming off probably the most emotional game of the year for Portland Timbers, too, in that wild one against New Mexico United. A look at the ESPN Game of the Week schedule with this handsome man sitting right next to me and the voice of the USL and Mike Watts. Nashville and Tampa Bay Rowdies, May 8th on ESPN2. Birmingham and Nashville. Look at all of this linear love for the USL.
How about Nashville? They've got a test this weekend in Atlanta United 2. You had a hot take, and we'll leave it at that.
Listen, I with all those pieces that you got in the offseason,
Find
you're
a way.
sitting where you sit.
Find a way.
Not working for me.
Imagine they lose, and then they lose at home to the Rowdies. Watch out.
Someone's losing something. We'll step aside again. 2-1 at Audi Field. Bethlehem on top. Welcome back to Audi Field. Loudoun United and Bethlehem Steel in a great one in the first home game, and I'm putting up air quotes here in the broadcast booth for Loudoun United as they're waiting for their soccer-specific city.
I see him.
You see him.
At least one person
nobody else
does.
sees him.
That's okay.
Well, let's take a look at what happened in the first 45 minutes. A lot to unpack here, Mr. Devin Kerr. With the way that this game started, I think we always knew that there were going to be goals in this one. Again, I posed the question to you, did you think there was going to be 3? If I had asked you that at the beginning of the game, you said probably not. I mean, first 10 minutes, it was all loud, and you thought that they were going to get the initial breakthrough.
They look good. They looked very similar to what we saw at Red Bull 2. Mentioned that. Good initial press. Pretty much lasted for about 8-10 minutes, and then Bethlehem Steel, as they always do, they find ways to get things going. Brennan Burke, such an good in-game tactician, and excellent progression by Shivani Willis. You felt for him. There was a 10-minute span where this kid took the game over and unfortunately could get about 95% away down the field and just couldn't finish things off. This one got stuck up underneath his feet in the 27th minute, just 2 minutes later. There was a good stuff where the ball came in. It's going to funnel itself back around. Good job by Galena holding things up, but he doesn't force it, just waits for it. How about this touch? Oh, your heart breaks for him. Just minute after minute, try after try. Again, excellent job by the forward. Midfielder can't finish things off. However, just 4 minutes later, in the 31st minute, Michi Galena would get involved. What a run in behind the back line. So difficult for the defenders to handle. They're flat. Galena sees it. Nice touch out in front. Earl Edwards can do nothing but try and get a little touch when he goes with his momentum to his right. Very difficult for the goalkeeper. Great finish by the forward.
So Galena gets his second of the year, and then his third would come soon thereafter. Debatable.
60 seconds. It's really close. I tell you, it's difficult from the angle, and you just take a look. Everybody, I mean, he's fast. but he's not the fastest kid alive. It was a good run again, but the back line a bit flat, and you just wonder, Richie Williams had a few words to be kind with the fourth official, and we said, can they find some sort of momentum? When you get into a situation like this, you just need your leaders to step up. Kyle Murphy has shown us glimpses in the past, was brilliant at RGV for a time, necessarily not given those opportunities under Darren Powell in 2018 at San Antonio, but this goal was just utterly beautiful. Good job, just one-on-one, far post, thank you very much. They gained some of that attention back, and now you regroup at halftime. You've gotten some momentum. Let's go get it done in the second half.
All right, so we had 3 goals in 6 minutes. 2-1 halftime. What did we learn in the first 45 minutes?
There's greatness and there's poor. And you saw both of it. And both managers would tell you that as well, including the referees. You got to include the referees in there that were questionable, to say the least. But some good movement from both squads going forward. You really saw from Loudoun United struggling from a composition standpoint. They were very in and out of the game, and that's just new part of the season. You're only 6 games in. Richie Williams has the talent there. Now just, can you make that one fluid product over the course of 90 minutes? Still struggling to do so.
Well, it should be noted that both of the affiliates for these two teams in Major League Soccer are currently sitting first and second in the Eastern Conference in Major League Soccer. So obviously two terrific organizations on the field tonight. Loudoun United, again, we'll said it once, I'll say it one more time. Audi Field is not their permanent home. They're still waiting for Loudoun United Stadium to be complete. It's coming along swimmingly from what we've heard. It'll seat 5,000. And for Kyle Murphy and Loudoun United, as well as Richie Williams, what's it going to take to perhaps find an equalizer and maybe surpass a 2-0 deficit and go on and get this win?
Stay calm. Cannot get rattled. They did so well in the opening 10 minutes, and that's the communication factor we talked about. Can Loudoun, Jack Jean-Baptiste, Connor Presley, Noah Pilato, can they move not only in one movement going forward, but stay composed on the defensive side of things? You started to see a lot of windows opening up for Bethlehem Steel, and they have too much talent. You cannot give them that opportunity. We talked about it. Loudoun United making a lot of their own mistakes, not necessarily letting Bethlehem Steel beat them.
All right, so we're officially underway in the second half here from Audi Field. Mark Allerton gets us underway. Again, I'm Tyler Terrens, and sitting 4.5 centimeters away from me in the broadcast booth is the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us on this Friday night, the only game on a Friday night in week number 9 of the USL Championship. However, we do have a League One game taking place parallel to this one. That's Orlando City B and the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Who do you like, Dev?
Take the Red Wolves.
Yeah?
Yep, with voice crack and all, I'll take the Red Wolves.
0-0 at the half between Orlando City B and the Red Wolves.
They're up-and-comers. They'll get there.
U.S. Open Cup right around the corner. Red Wolves will be involved. Truly my favorite tournament in America. That includes March Madness.
In America. You paused for a second to go, easy, bro. We got a little work to do. Got a little work to do against Barcelona and our Liverpool boys, but yeah, it's really cool. And having a chat off air before the match, how just it is an open cup. I like one of the announcers said something to me, he'll remain nameless. Don't want to throw him under the bus. He said, what about that bar team a couple years ago? I said, Christos.
Yeah.
Not a bar team. They're just sponsored by a family that owns a bar.
And why are they so good? Because they're sponsored by a family that owns a bar.
Exactly.
Although, you know who took them down following their magical run in 2017? Reading United. And of course, it was DC United who stopped them in their tracks in 2017. Although Christos did score the first goal.
There's so many fun stories out there. I actually brought it up to you how Colin Verfurth played for Northern Virginia United in 2018, and we actually saw their final qualifying match a few weeks ago, and now it's just Virginia United. They found a way to come back in what was controversy to say the least, but still an opportunity for them to get in tournament proper and go up against some of the big boys.
Some great USL Championship matchups to come in the second round, and I think by far the most intriguing one. And just really unfortunate for both teams, but great for third-party observers. New Mexico United and Phoenix, as Kyle Murphy gets one away, and last touch coming off of Loudoun United. Orlando Sinclair found some moments in the first half to look dangerous and to put pressure on the Bethlehem back line. 21-year-old from San Jose, Costa Rica. He's on loan from Saprissa, aka the Purple Monster over in that beautiful part of the world. Matt Real a touch away from Connor Presley. Farris trying to hold off Hakeem Ward. He felt like he was fouled, and Mark Allerton says, I'm not interested in that whatsoever. Presley with a beautiful little nutmeg and gets the return pass from Sinclair. Presley on the move. 20-year-old from Austin whips one in, and it's Murphy. Loudoun United equalize moments into the second half. Presley with a motor for days out on the right wing. Murphy his second of the night, and it's level at 2. The goal-scoring bonanza continues here at Audi Field.
Utter brilliance from Richie Williams' boys early on. How about the nutmeg? Quick little touch through, forgot something, Chambo. Nice little triangular play on the 1-2 down into the channel. And how about, has to look up, he gives the call to him, letting him know, hey, I got you, continue your run. Well done, Kyle Murphy, to allow himself to shut things down on the near post. And just like that, the home squad have knotted things up. Barra Bravo would be proud.
4 goals, 2 players. Not even 50 minutes gone. In the opening match between the Bethlehem Steel and Loudoun United, and Devin, a game that does have some geographical significance behind it. You know, these two teams are not all that far away from each other. It's a relatively short drive up 95 from Audi Field to Talent Energy. About a 2.5-hour ride. We mentioned before the success that the Major League Soccer teams have, and of course the success that these two sides are having. Loudoun United in their inaugural season, Bethlehem Steel, since entering the United Soccer League Championship, have gotten better every single year, including an Eastern Conference semifinal appearance in 2018, falling to Louisville for the second straight year, just a round deeper.
You better believe that's a conversation that was had as well with the managers and their boys before coming out and during training this week, because obviously you want to go out, be competitive, win every match that you can, but there are bragging rights on the line at every level when it comes to organizations like this. You better believe neither one of them wants to give anything up.
Sinclair, a bit of a stumble. He'll gather himself, though. Around Farris, Real goes to ground. He's had enough of that out on the right wing if you're on the Loudoun side of things. Left wing with Bethlehem.
How about Connor Presley? What a good run.
Wow.
Individual brilliance with the ball at his feet and having the wherewithal to understand. And not only did he just make a great move, lays it off, continues his run down in, asked for it, mind you. It's a kid who played the last 2 years under Darren Powell in San Antonio.
Presley playing it through for Sinclair. Loudoun United showing teeth again. It's back for Presley. Real got a toe to it. And a corner kick coming up for Loudoun United, who look to be shot out of a cannon from the dressing room at halftime. And Bethlehem Steel are desperately trying to gather themselves.
Youngster Connor Presley once again. He'll stand over this corner kick. This is a kid who elected not to go play college ball. Had opportunities in Europe, trialed at a few places. Geisley, National League North. A couple run with friendlies there, but elected to come back home. And now showing you just what he's capable of. Kind of a quiet first half. To be honest, he had his hands full with Shivani Willis and Michi Ngalina on that left side, making him play a bit deeper of a wall. Really having a bit of trouble getting in connection with Hakeem Ward.
Here comes Bethlehem on the other end, and Farris with a heavy touch there that runs out of play, much to the delight of the Loudoun United fans who have made their way to Audi Field. Pilato, good entry pass, Loudoun. Here's Sinclair. He's gonna let one fly, and Tomas Romero can happily see it skip wide. Orlando Sinclair slowly but surely starting to put his Costa Rican stamp on the game.
This is a kid that Richie Williams said needed to find a way to get him going a bit more often than they have. Nice imposing presence in the middle of the field, and Costa Rican who had an opportunity with Uruguay to Coronado as well as Saprissa. Talk about programs pumping out talent. Portmore United. How about Saprissa? So many guys littered globally for that club.
First one that comes to mind for you. As Connor Presley again making easy work of the Bethlehem back line. It looks like it'll stay in play. Matt Real is first to it, and he wins a throw-in for Bethlehem. Devin, back to you.
Marvin Loria. I was going to look, but I got to
you were going to look. You are looking at your other boards.
That's New Mexico United.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't get to it, but I needed to.
It got it cooking a little bit, though.
I got 10 teams in my head right now. I got a rough run of games right now. I can't remember my own name, yet alone the player that I stalk on social media. Yeah, he's a good player. And Portland obviously figured out that they wanted to take a much deeper look at him because they've had him on loan from Saprissa for the past about 14 months or so. This year, putting pen to paper, putting him on a Timbers contract, although still primarily employing his efforts with Cameron Knowles and Timbers too, albeit with injury in the preseason that's really caused most of that. That's something else that you have to take a look at with these teams where so much talent, and it's easy to go, oh, well, he's a good outside midfielder, he's a good center back. But there is a lot of luck in this as well, and just the opportunity. Because if the guy in front of you is playing great and nothing ever happens to him, I mean, what are you supposed to do? They can't bench him if he's in form. And so sometimes you see guys that depart from a club and you kind of go, wow, why aren't they keeping him? But the opportunity is just not there for him to progress. So at least try and make some money and give him an opportunity somewhere else.
Kevon Frater, perfect example of that. Here's Matt Real on the move. And a good sliding challenge, and it looked like it should have been a goal kick, and that's exactly what Noah Pilato was claiming.
I'd be the first one to jump to his aid. Looked like he got the better run of this as well.
Oh, yeah.
That comes off his foot for sure. Matt Real knocks this over the end line and should be going for a goal kick for Earl Edwards. Very unfortunate by the youngster, but good track back.
Earl Edwards trying to keep it in play. Did he? No, he did not. And a corner kick coming up for Bethlehem. Brought down. Awkward from Bethlehem. It'll stay with the visitors, though. Galena. And Derek Jones goes straight through the legs of Kyle Murphy. Jones with a great move, lashes it across. And Due is first to it.
A good look at Ben Ofemo sitting on the back post. Derek Jones a bit unhappy, to be honest. Oh, Kyle Murphy. Come on, buddy, you're better than that. Nice run by Jones. Can't believe that it made its way all the way through the six, and not one of the Bethlehem boys could get on the end of it.
That's a really poor touch, and Presley left it behind him. Murphy still could be on for Loudoun United. And it's too late from Presley. And Devin Kerr is in pain, having watched that counterattack unfold.
I'm listening to Richie Williams said, this is what I'm talking about all week. He's not wrong. All you got to do is pick your head up. Just compose yourself for 1 second. Get on the same page as the run that you're going through the progression and play this ball through. Could have easily been Connor Presley. He makes a mess of it. Kyle Murphy can't get involved, and Richie Williams is furious with his boys going forward. That's a wasted opportunity.
Harry Hawkins out of the back. Sinclair again dropping extremely deep. Due on the first time. Monreal gets ahead to it, still dangerous though. Murphy won it. And Bethlehem could clear their lines in the form of Shivani Willis. Michi Galina scampering to keep it in play and able to do so. Galina staying with it. Ward goes to ground, gets it wrong. Trying to slip it through for Farris. Was he taken down in the box? Penalty for Bethlehem. Well, it certainly looked like the right call. Colin Verfurth goes to ground. Farris able to beat him to it, and the Bethlehem Steel, after squandering a 2-0 lead, have a chance to retake the lead from 12 yards away. And it is mustard for Verfurth as well.
Colin Verfurth bails Bethlehem Steel out. Terrible decision-making by Galina. Should have let it go early. Then he waits for the back heel. It makes its way back around, and there's just no reason whatsoever. He knows he's beat, and he needs to stay on his feet in that situation.
It almost looked like he pulled out of that. I think if he keeps going and he fully extends his leg, he gets to the ball first.
He doesn't need to go to ground, though. The ball's going away from the goal towards the end line, and everybody's tracking back behind him. If he doesn't go to ground, he stands it up. The first thing Farris is going to do is try and cut it on his left. At which point in time, Edwards can step in, there's almost no angle. But instead, you've gifted them an opportunity in the 60th minute to get out in front.
Farris from the spot. Earl Edwards awaits. This to retake the lead for Bethlehem. Farris buries it. Bethlehem back on top. Loudoun United have been on the front foot for the entirety of the first 15 minutes of the second half, and somehow Bethlehem have retaken the lead.
Watch his head. He doesn't even look down at the ball. Talk about class. Mind games. Poor Earl Edwards Jr. could do nothing but watch. Sometimes you just take a step back, give a golf clap, because that is a phenomenal penalty kick by Farris. If you could see Tyler Terrence's face, that's just downright wrong.
Who does that?
That's wrong. I mean, that's
like Michael Jordan closing his eyes on a free throw. I mean, I'll never understand that. If you're Brendan Berg, I mean, you can't be mad. It went in the back of the net, but at the same time,
a conversation will be had.
Yes.
Yeah, you better believe it.
My goodness, Farris, have some respect.
Just keep an eye on him. Watch his head the entire time. Thank you very much. Sit down. Have a seat. And have a seat to a great goalkeeper in Earl Edwards Jr.
And he's been terrific tonight.
Done nothing wrong, and sometimes as a goalkeeper, he didn't show any cards whatsoever. So as a goalkeeper, sometimes you just guess and hope. Unfortunately, the prayers went the other direction.
Now Loudoun United have to respond again. Presley whips one in, and easy enough for Romero. Thought he might be able to catch it, but punches it away, and it falls right to Derek Jones. 5 goals, and we've barely played an hour. You're welcome, USL Championship. Fans follow Loudoun United, Bethlehem Steel, and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com, where Devin Kerr lives. Douay, good ball in, loose in front. Sinclair was there, it got away from him. Romero wanted it. Back out for Douay. Douay to the outside. Deflected, kept in play by Harriel. And it's going to come out the other way. A bit overzealous from Kyle Murphy.
Some decent service being thrown in by Loudoun United. Peebo Douay and Connor Presley, primarily the two. Surprised we haven't seen some more overlapping runs from Akeem Ward on the right side. However, it does go back to the challenge on the offensive side of things that he's had to deal with, and the likes of Michi Galina, and the likes of Shivani Willis.
And Verfurth is being told that he needs to mind his P's and Q's because he's already got a yellow card after taking down Farris. That led to the most recent scoring development. Bethlehem steal. Just a couple numbers waiting in the area. Zach Zandy is one. Derek Jones is another. He's on top of it, dealing with two Loudoun United defenders. Jones to the byline, somehow splits two. Jones still with it. Was he taken down? Mark Allerton thinking about it, thought about it, goal kick. That's close.
Derek Jones said to Mark Allerton, he pushed me. Saw some pretty footwork from him before. Let's go Tango on the touchline this time. Right on the end line. No, Derek Jones. Good for you, buddy. That's a penalty. That ball is still in play, still traveling laterally across the 6.
No contact with the ball.
That is a point to the spot, 100%.
And the only reason he's not giving it is because he just gave one, which is
ridiculous.
But
one has nothing to do with the other.
No, of course they don't. I'm never going to argue that with you. But that's the human piece of refereeing, is that you just gave one. No, he doesn't feel bad, but he just gave one. Listen, a penalty is a penalty is a penalty. I will always, always stand by that.
You mind your P's and Q's.
Dewey, good sliding challenge from Nathan Harriel. Pulled up a bit lame as Richie Williams. Cleared away by Chambers. He's had one of his more quiet games in a Bethlehem Steel uniform tonight. Great little no-look pass from Andrew Loudoun.
Much better ball movement by Loudoun United. You can see them starting to find different planes for them to play through. They're actually giving the Steel a taste of their own medicine with their interchanging play. Runners drifting in and out, as now Mark Allerton will have a decision to make. Brandished a card to Chambo, just saying how quiet he's been. He's kind of one of the guys that are struggling. It is late. They do have a good run of play going.
That's a card for me.
Yeah, you have to question the referee at this point in time. The missed PK. No card given, and that poor giveaway by Loudoun. Some of the other no calls that the referees let the guys play on, and it's not like it's overwhelmingly bad decision making, except for the penalty. It's just questionable. It's a good look at some of the local lads. Not exactly sure they're allowed to be out this late. Curfew soon, right?
Curfew, and those certainly weren't Mountain Dews that they were holding either.
I was trying to be nice. You're just calling them out.
Listen, it's my job.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Here's Dewey. Farris has gone down. Will play on Presley. Sinclair able to win it. Still available. That was a dangerous challenge from Ben Ofemu, who was swiping while he was down. And that's a bit questionable from James Chambers to thump it like that into the crowd with a lot of pace behind the ball. Farris definitely needs medical attention.
Unfortunately, we've seen something similar at the MLS level recently that turned into a suspension.
Kaku, yep.
Just looks like he caught it on his calf, tried to take it on the outside, and the ball came right off of him. James Chambers just unleashed into the supporters section for Loudoun United. There's a good look at Harry Hawkins, who's been quite the busy man on the back line, trying to come over and get a drink, recoup himself for the final push that is these last 21+ minutes. And Farris, you could see his face just anguishing over the ball that he took on that outside calf. Someone who you haven't had to call a lot of is Nathan Harriel. See Andrew Loudoun tucking inside a lot, trying to help out the interiors. Find some new platforms to play through, and they've been able to do so here in the second half. To be fair, the better squad, albeit giving up the penalty, questionable at best.
I just really like the way Richie Williams conducts himself. I do. I mean, he's constantly making eye contact with his guys. He's very direct in what he wants. He keeps a pretty cool head, and James Chambers did not keep a cool head here.
He's finally being told to play it out. Just lets one go. Catches that group in the front row, doesn't he? And they're having a good laugh. However, there are a couple supporters who say, hey, have a look there. Richie Williams just top class. Talk about pedigree. Think about the talent. And not just from a playing perspective, but from what they did in college to playing at the club level, playing at the national level, the influence they're having on the coaching level now. All of them are products of Bruce Arena. All of them. Ben Olsen, Richie Williams, and guys that just, I mean, it is utterly ridiculous because the list goes on and on and on, by the way. You can't name them all.
I can't wait for Loudoun United, North Carolina FC.
There you go. Dave Sarakin, obviously, one of the guys who was also involved in that program for such a long time.
Maybe they are Mountain Dews. No, that starts with an H. Speaking of which, we going out for a Mountain Dew after this?
It's a school night. My school's on the weekend, you know that.
Your school or our school?
My school. I take you to school. And we're finally back at it. Lovely.
20 minutes remaining here at Audi Field. Farris back out onto the field. And Farris, the reason why it is Bethlehem 3, Loudoun United 2. Again, I'm Tyler Terran, sitting right next to me, and definitely going out for a Mountain Dew with me after the game is Devin Kerr. Big 3 points up for grabs in the Eastern Conference. Both teams trying to avoid consecutive losses. For Bethlehem, it would be 3 consecutive losses. Loudoun United, it would be 2 following their loss against Birmingham Legion. Bethlehem looking sharp, especially on the offensive side of the ball, not so much defensively, after their bye week and 3-0 loss against Indy 11. And we'd like to remind you once again that the National Conference Center, home of Loudoun United FC, is a corporate training facility in Leesburg, Virginia. It hosts over 14,000 individuals per month and comprises 265,000 square feet of meeting space. The National contains 250 conference rooms, an athletic facility, commissary, and 917 guest rooms. Good pressure from Loudoun United. Kyle Murphy, the beneficiary, as he gets onto it, and then Topi commits the foul.
Kyle Murphy going to work once again. Got that great goal in the first half. And then started the second half off strong, trying to get his boys going here to get the game tire. Smart by the forward. Realizes that doesn't necessarily have a lot of support. Plays it out in front of him, hoping just get something going. Topi oversteps his boundaries. Referee blows the whistle.
What San Antonio's loss is Richie Williams and Loudoun United's gain. Connor Presley and Kyle Murphy making the most out of their time after leaving Darren Powell. Although they made some room for some just really great offensive talent. As this one whipped in by Loudoun, diving header at the back post, and Romero makes the save. It was Kyle Murphy again. I don't know how on earth, if you're Bethlehem, you lose him out of anybody on the back post. But somehow they come away unscathed.
This all goes back to communication again. We saw the foul by Topi just a second ago. Benufemo just looking everywhere to try and find the ball. You have to be better as the center back. Cannot give Kyle Murphy that much space. And for everything that we said about he and James Chambers coming into this match, Benufemo has struggled on the back line.
So has Chambers. Hasn't been his. It has not been a good performance from him tonight. And we rarely say that. You and I are two of his biggest fans. Loudoun again feeling himself. Was there a deflection? Mark Allerton says no. And Loudoun does not put up an argument. And it's going to be Andrew Loudoun making way for Chinya Kodono. And Devin Curry, you're very high on this young man.
I like this kid. He can play. He's someone who had an excellent career at Cal. He's actually teammates at the youth level with Jonathan Klinsmann, Jurgen Klinsmann's son, goalkeeper for the youth national team. And he's someone who I asked Braden Cloutier about, the head coach of Orange County and the Irvine Strikers, and he said, you know, I saw him at the youth level. I said, Braden, any reason that he didn't make his way into your squad this year, being that he did appear for the U23s? And he said, you know, we just have a great team, and I kept most of the core. We only made a few changes, but he's definitely got the talent to succeed at the next level. He's been really nice so far for Richie Williams' squad.
Zandy putting on the moves, already has an assist tonight. Derek Jones lofts one in. Galena read the play well. Good hustle to keep it in play. Working on Ward, somehow gets the delivery off. Zandy following it up, and Due has to get rid of it. And that's well done from Bethlehem, just sort of putting the clamps down on Loudoun United. And Bethlehem taking it very seriously that sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and making sure that Loudoun United in the final moments of the game isn't necessarily on the ball as much.
Good shout from Brennan Burke as well. He was worried about the counterattack, asking some of his boys to sit back. A lot of times you'll see them push more numbers up higher in the pitch. Not the case with just 15 to go.
Zandy, outswinger, not handled all that cleanly by Pilato. Sent back in by Real. Earl Edwards Jr. punches it away, and it's going to be a foul, and rightfully so. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, May 8th for the ESPN USL Championship Game of the Week on ESPN2, showcasing the Tampa Bay Rowdies traveling to the Music City to take on Nashville SC in a contest featuring two playoff hopefuls. It's the week's best match on the Game of the Week, May 8th on ESPN2. Tampa Bay will either get a draw or a win out of that game. Mark it down.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So it's not a hot take. I mean, you know what I would say. It's PG on this broadcast, though.
Due teeing it up, and always going over the bar.
Much better from the home squad here in the second half. There's still work to be done. Richie Williams seems to have gathered their thoughts, exactly what he wanted his boys to do here in the second half. They've definitely been better. But you can still see Derek Jones finding his ability to play out of the back, and he's playing a much higher line than he was in the opening 45. He and Chambo sitting almost side by side now, starting to press, and they're having a hard time accounting for that extra runner progressing through the middle of the field.
Sinclair sliding one through. Presley trying to beat Ofemo to the punch, but the 18-year-old with a good sliding challenge. And Bethlehem at this point, game management, locking it down defensively. And looking for a big win on the road. And we're being told that Jack Villatoro is getting set to come on to replace Connor Presley. Interesting, given how successful Presley has been tonight.
He's laboring. He's starting to get tired. That's one thing Richie Williams said that his boys have struggled with, his conditioning. And you've really noticed it in some matches where things start to open up and they have trouble tracking. No difference here than Bethlehem Steel, who employ that high press, make you put in a bit more conditioning work than you're used to. And Connor Presley going to be happy with most of his efforts tonight. Excellent distribution on the goal at the start of the second half to Kyle Murphy. Really quite impressive with what he was able to do. Still needs to work on the defensive side of things, but I'm sure his manager will be happy with his efforts.
So on comes Villatoro, the 17-year-old from Lima, Peru. His first professional season, came up to the DC United Academy, and just making his third appearance. And looking to inject some life and perhaps an equalizer into what has been a fabulous game of football. Is there another goal left in this?
No, we're done.
We're done?
I have no idea.
Why don't we turn it off then?
I mean, things have definitely fizzled out a bit over the past 10 minutes. It's not the helter-skelter we saw at the end of the first and the start of the second. The Loudoun United feel there's something left.
Dewey, a teasing ball in. Sinclair got there, and it's going to come out the other way. Cole Turner getting set to come on for Brendan Burke in Bethlehem. He actually got the start for Bethlehem in the most recent game a couple of weeks ago against Indy 11. And he's going to come on and replace Shivani Willis.
Great ball in, unfortunately. Just hang gliding a bit on the back of Ben Ofemu. I mean, he jumps on his back and just holds himself up.
Well, I hope the foul was called on that and not running into Thomas Romero.
Running into that.
Listen.
Yeah, the way the night's going, fair enough. I'll tell you, I'll be interested to see what they do with Cole Turner. This is a kid who actually played center back for the Philadelphia Union in preseason versus New York Red Bull, as they tend to have their early vacation, we'll call it, down in Clearwater every single year. But you better believe they're not exactly doing any partying. You would almost expect him to slide right in between Ben Ofemu and Jamoy Toby, just sitting right in front of him, turn it into a five-back of sorts. But upon initial review, they're just letting him run where Shivani Willis was, employing a higher role, just underneath Michi Galina. You better believe Brendan Burke can get out of here with 3 points. He'll be very happy, as they have not looked the best here in the second half.
Loudoun United, slowly but surely, in the latest part of the game. Down 3-2, starting to show some teeth, as Bethlehem have dropped off a bit. Villatoro getting around the outside, taken down. And a free kick coming up for Loudoun United. Good work from the Peruvian.
There's the speed from the youngster. DC United Academy product. Matt Real's got to be very lucky he doesn't get a card. Hands to the face. Ball already progressed past him, and that was most assuredly coming right back into the mixer for someone to jump on it. Now look for Piabo Due. And I'll tell you, early on in the first half, we saw a bit of trickery. Nice little overlapping run. I wouldn't mind seeing something be employed here. Maybe a quick dash to the top of the 6, allow a late run right around the 18 mark, really distract Bethlehem Steel, get a good shot on goal.
Clipped in, not a bad ball. Ofemu's first to it. Romero has to punch it away. And it's a silly foul from Due. It looked to be the right call.
You're Brendan Burke and all the big bodies that you have with your defensive unit. Benufemu does a good job tracking back. Surprised Romero didn't catch the ball, to be honest. Plenty of time and opportunity to do so. Almost gives Loudoun United a second opportunity here, and a bit of theatrics by Steel FC. Good on the outside of his knee, Michi Galina is.
The substitution getting set to come on for Richie Williams. It'll be his third and final one as Milton Campos, the 18-year-old from El Salvador, getting set to come in for the remaining 5+ minutes. And it'll very much be an offensive substitution as Verfurth is going to come off. And Verfurth, a rather disappointing end to the night as he was responsible for taking down Ferris, which led to the penalty, which led to the Bethlehem lead. But besides that, I did think he played a relatively solid game. I mean, obviously there were times where Bethlehem were able to open them up. One goal in particular was blatantly offside, but Verfurth, outside of the foul, played particularly well. Do you disagree?
Told you this is a PG broadcast. I disagree. Yeah, I was not happy with his performance. He was overly exposed multiple times. I'll even give him the benefit of the doubt on the goal. It's just his ability to track the runners, keep his head on a swivel, and understand where positionally he was and was supposed to be was not correct. And he got very lucky multiple times that more wasn't made out of it. He was the one who was responsible multiple times in the first half for the runs by Shivani Willis that didn't end up in the back of the net. And I'm not even going to say anything about the goal because that's just so difficult to track.
Earl Edwards gives it away. Zach Zandy could be in, and Zandy makes a mess of it. It would have been game, set, match. Zandy knows it. And he snatched at it in the end.
Once again, the mistakes by the home squad plaguing them throughout their performances. The first 7 matches of the 2019 campaign, Richie Williams said we have to do a much better job locking these things up. Plagued them in the first half, looked like they'd put a Band-Aid on it, and they were okay in the second 45, but just with 5 to go, Earl Edwards almost gifts them the game. Fortunately enough, Zandy could not finish it off.
And Brendan Burke, in anticipation of wanting to kill off the game and use as much of the clock as possible, has held off on his substitutions as Zayed Diaz is going to come on and replace Farris, who has the game winner in his back pocket as he struts off Audi Field. Thoughts on the big man's performance?
Good. Happy with him. Thought he did a good job. Stretched that back line, made them second guess, allowed Galina to run in underneath. Create a good partnership with the boys in the middle of the field as well. And now Zayed Diaz gets an opportunity to employ his efforts. Just recently getting another call up to the Panama U20s ahead of their World Cup this summer. So a chance to keep himself sharp before he employs his efforts on the international level. You have to wonder, is there an answer here for Richie Williams and his squad coming down the stretch? You don't want to necessarily say they've deserved it, but they have been the better squad in the second half, and you would love to see them eke a point out of this. It's been good from both squads. However, you have to feel for them the way that the opening campaign has gone in 2019.
Chambers is trying to dribble his way out of pressure as Sinclair clips one over the top. Murphy brings it down. Murphy somehow gets the cross away, brought down. And a good step at the back from Bethlehem. It was Derek Jones. Galina sliding one through. 88th minute. This has been a wild one in the home opener for Loudoun United in their temporary home here at Audi Field. Started with 2 Bethlehem goals in a matter of 2 minutes from Michi Galina, then 2 goals from Kyle Murphy on either side of halftime. And then a Farris penalty after what had been a second half that was completely dominated by Loudoun United.
This field is wide open and ripe for the taking right now. But Loudoun United have to remember to stay composed. Plenty of time left, no need to rush. You've made the appropriate substitutions from a tactical standpoint. And just find a way to execute.
Nathan Harriel is down for Bethlehem Steel as James Chambers just stretching out what we believe to be as a cramp. And you heard Richie Williams sort of calling for Harriel to either keep playing or get off the field at this point, but Mark Allerton will have the time.
Can we get him off the field?
Here's a good look. As he goes to jump, he immediately stretches for that calf. Definitely a non-contact one, and Richie Williams said they're just chilling. I don't know if they're just chilling, Coach, but I feel your pain. Again, precious seconds just tick, 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 tick off the clock. Kyle Murphy, a few bit of last-minute ideas that maybe they can throw into this final third and get an equalizer. There's another look. Right when he steps down. That's always what it is late in the games. It's not the contact ones, it's that push. You've had to press your body so long, the attrition just starts to come into play.
And the word down on the field is 6. Yes, 6 as in half a dozen, Devin Kerr, a stoppage time. Wrap your head around that one.
I don't get that.
Did we miss something?
Yeah. I mean, there was a PK, but it was pretty quick. Ferris put that to bed right away. I don't think you're going to hear much argument out of the home manager.
No. Bethlehem playing down a man for the moment. In for Murphy. Cleared away by Jones.
Just keep it here. Plenty of time. You don't want to be overly cautious, but you do have time to be patient and play a bit.
Pushed out wide for Douay. Hits it on the first time. It seemed a bit rushed. And Chambers will get rid of it. Michi Kalina.
Some kind of motor on that kid, huh? 91st minute,
yep.
And just still going. Ferris coming off. Looked like he had just gotten out of the shower, so tired, and Galena just downshifts, gets into another gear, and then boom, goes again.
Walter Cortez coming on and replacing the injured and cramping Harriel. 19-year-old from Costa Rica on loan from Saprissa. Where have we heard that before? Big switch, Douay able to get there. Cole Turner out to defend. Back for Douay. Skips around Turner, good ball in towards the back post. Ward back in. And Cadono has it taken away. Viatoro. Oh, what a hit that is. It's off the post in front of Sinclair. Equalizer, 93rd minute. Orlando Sinclair. And they want more. 3-3 at Audi Field.
said all you have to do is play a little bit. They didn't get rattled, they waited. This initially was a great ball swung in by Pivo Due, and as it made its way out, guess who? Jacques-Jean Baptiste, right at the top of the 18, lines this one up. Had Romero beat, good follow-up by Orlando St. Clair, who was slowly but surely found a way to make an impact on this game. You felt it coming in the second half. Bethlehem Steel immediately went and got theirs after Kyle Murray equalized. And now you gotta give credit where it's due. Just a good job by Richie Williams' boys, not being rattled down. And now is there time for one more. What a strike. Wish that would have gone in. I mean, good job for Sinclair, but that was pretty. Teed that up. That's where your form cannot fault you. And just be patient. I said, do not get rattled coming down the stretch. Just put the ball on the ground, let it do the work. Definitely paid off.
Which way will the seesaw go next? Oh, and the foul call in the middle of the field. Bethlehem were off and running. Loudoun United going the other way. We still have 2 minutes left to stoppage time. Here's Ward. And a corner kick for Loudoun United. This is what happens when you have 6 minutes of stoppage time. Anything can happen.
Well, Bethlehem Steel getting very unfortunate. The referee blew the whistle there because, to your point, an excellent opportunity presented itself. But now Loudoun United back on the front foot. Pivo Due taking his time as once this gets swung in, he wants his big guys an opportunity to go up and win it for him, and then not much thereafter.
Due in swinger, a minute remaining. Jones gets to it, Murphy back out wide for Due. Plenty of time. He sends it back in. Chambers wins the header. Jacques-Jean Baptiste again hits it with his instep. And Devin Kerr, had he put his laces through that, would have been out the door.
Oh, I looked at you like this kid's gonna hit this again. Some kind of confidence on his head.
Dangerous from Earl Edwards. Just about 30 seconds left now. Sinclair on the other end. Cole Turner, though, has a beat for pace. Romero gets rid of it. Nervy moments for both coaches down the stretch. No foul call, massive collision. And it's gonna be offside. And that should do it. Campos back on his feet. Just a few seconds remaining now. That'll do it. What a first home match for Loudoun United. It finishes 3-3. They trailed at 3 different points in the game. Kyle Murphy with a brace to level it at 2 after Michi Galina got things started with 2 goals of his own. Farris with a penalty midway through the second half. It looked to be lost for Loudoun United until Orlando St. Clair finds himself on the doorstep after a banger of an effort from Jacques-Jean Baptiste. As Sinclair was able to walk it in, it finishes 3-3. Devin Kerr, what on earth are you thinking right now?
I'm trying to add that high. I guess all the goals. I mean, you had three goals in the span of 6 minutes in the first half, 2 in the span of 11 in the second. This game had everything. You saw some quality defending. You saw some questionable decision-making. Loved the offensive movements by both teams in the final third. And then you just had individual brains on the likes of Kyle Murphy, Michi Galina. Loved what Farris did from the spot. And you asked me if there was one more. I said, you know what, Loudoun feel themselves that you felt like they might be able to get it done. And credit to them, they stuck it out. Many a match before, they weren't able to get back into it, but this time, they're able to scavenge a point.
Spoiler alert, all of our highlights are going to be goals.
6 of them.
All right, so after Bethlehem, really through Giovanni Willis, missed a number of opportunities, finally able to get one. Michi Galina scores the first. This was controversial to say the least, but Galina takes it well. And Devin, as you mentioned, nobody tracking from Loudoun United, and then Kyle Murphy gets Loudoun United back into the game. This is the changing point for Loudoun United because it could have really got off the rails for them.
We were just saying this is a point in time where there's 10 minutes or so to go just before halftime. Someone has to step up and do something, either from a philosophical or physical approach. Kyle Murphy threw the team on his back. Great goal to close out the first half, an even better one in the second half. And I say that because of the run, drifting to the near post, allowed it to develop. For Firth, question, what are you doing here? Why are you going to ground? There's no reason to. You give Bethlehem Steel an opportunity to get back in. This is in the 60th minute. Ferris with one of the best PKs that you will see all season long.
And then this
wouldn't go away. The youngsters would not back off. To be fair, both of them are youngsters, but a lot more experience from the Loudoun United boys. A good job by Sinclair following up the play, especially that late in the game. A lot of time you'll see a guy hit something. Guys will just turn their heads and watch it. That's not the case. They get the equalizer, deservedly so.
And Sinclair, I think, deservedly so. Deserved to get something out of this game, whether it be a point for his team or a goal for himself. He just happened to find both. Here are how the numbers shook out after those bizarre 96 minutes. Yes, we had 6 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the second half, and it definitely proved to be beneficial for Loudoun United, who are able to get the draw. Both teams get a point after dropping points, all points, in their previous games. Bethlehem Steel, their last 2 games. But what an affair we had here at Audi Field as Kyle Murphy and Loudoun United, just with an outstanding, gutsy, gritty, whatever you want to call it, effort. And Devin, I mean, this is a way that you have your first ever home game. It's not a Loudoun United Stadium, the $15 million soccer-specific stadium. We'll be ready soon in a couple of months, but you come home in front of fans who are expecting you to put on a show, and you did just that.
You better believe the United faithful are here, both through DC United and Loudoun United. Screaming Eagles, Bar Bravo, they're going to come out and support this team. And I'll tell you what, if the progression like this continues from match to match, they can be right there at one of those playoff spots, and you better believe they can be Bethlehem Steel a la 2018, squeak in, nick you early on in the first round, and make a run to really challenge you down the stretch.
All right, well, for our entire crew, my producer, Ava Ponte, director, Jose Bueso, replay operator, Jake Leota, and my broadcast partner, Devin Kerr, Tyler Terrence, saying so long for now. The final score, Loudoun United 3, Bethlehem 3. We'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.